Are you a cannabis grower who knows what they're doing? Are you looking for a one-stop shop for all things cannabis lighting? Then check out DutchLightingInnovations.com. On our website, you can learn more about our newest UV technology, which allows us to grow stronger, even better terpene profiles while reducing microbial growth. DutchLightingInnovations.com has all your lighting needs, from HPS to CMH to LED and UV. Lights of the highest quality for growers who know what they're doing. Designed, engineered, and made in Holland. Your one-stop shop for all things cannabis, DutchLightingInnovations.com. You can learn more about our newest UV technology. At DLI, we have decades in experience in both commercial and hobby horticulture. As a result, our engineers have developed a brand new range of horticultural lighting products that combine with the tried and tested manufacturing techniques of the existing commercial lighting products with a modern manufacturing process. As a result, we've created a comprehensive line of horticultural lighting products that are designed to enhance the user experience and produce better results. That's DutchLightingInnovations.com.
Shackles that you keep. I'm a slave to memories, forever haunting me. But I never felt so alive, and all of this time won't be face down in the middle, and all of this time when the sky is falling, it's calling out of your name, and I won't be your saving grace.
What's up, my tokers, jokers, and smokers? Welcome back to another edition of the Daily Chronicles, y'all. A cannabis culture show all about the people behind, that's right, the scenes in cannabis culture, y'all. Today, I got Caleb Teske, man, coming on the show from the Fine Print Journalism, bro. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Rodney. This is a pleasure, man. I appreciate the reciprocity, sir, and I love the new intro, by the way.
I appreciate it, man. You know, listen, it's been a long time coming. You know, you and I have sat down a little bit before. We've, had a moment to chat. I wanted to catch up and, really learn who Caleb is, you know what I'm saying, and what the fine print journalism is all about. So, dude, 500 words or less, if you will. Tell us a little bit about the fine print journalism.
Is this my 5-minute life story here?
5-minute life story, and please go over.
So, I was born and raised in Lyndonville, Vermont. I went to Linden Institute here. I was kind of a troubled kid. When I was 7, my dad was arrested in the largest drug bust ever in the history of Vermont. They were smuggling Afghani hash through Canada into the Akwesasne Indian Reservation in upstate New York. And so that story really sort of defined my childhood. I got to watch my dad get dragged away by the FBI when I was 7 years old on the Channel 3 news. And so that's really sort of been in my brain. It took a while to formulate. I feel like that sort of trauma really doesn't register in your head when you're 7. That sat in the back of my mind for quite a long time. And then, I went to college at Worcester Polytechnic Institute in Massachusetts. After being kicked out of high school for getting in my own trouble, I was kind of after Dad got arrested, like it really kind of fucked up my life. And I was very angry about it for a long time. I was super mad at my stepdad who stepped in and was just a great guy who I really took out a lot of my anger on due to what happened with my dad. And I feel pretty bad about that because he's a really nice man and he's done a lot for our family, but including helped me get through college at Worcester Polytechnic Institute, where I graduated with honors with a degree in engineering physics, which I haven't used. I roll joints on it sometimes. So
fair enough.
Yeah, and you know, the journalism has come as sort of a spin-off of a number of other passion projects that I was doing. I've always been a big Hunter Thompson fan, so obviously like that sort of gonzo style journalism is something that I really have an affinity for. And you know, I did, you know, I was a bartender for eight or 9 years there. So I've become good at interacting with all different types of human beings from various political spectrums and, you know, diverse backgrounds, genders, races, sexual orientation, all that shit, which I thought has really helped me, you know. And after I got kicked out of the Vermont Comedy Club for cursing at a stranger on Facebook, you know, I really needed a new outlet. I used to make beats for a while. I produced hip hop. I used to rap a little, but the journalism was sort of born out of a need to, I needed an outlet for my creative impulses. And before it was comedy, and before that it was music. And I just was running out of shit. And someone suggested that to me, my man, Riley Hayes. I'd like to thank Riley for really pushing me into this. I honestly got sick of listening to him tell me, hey, you should try journalism. And I was like, all right, if I try it, will you shut the fuck up? So I did try it. And I gotta say, it's been one of the most satisfying pursuits of my life. Like I get bored very easily. And this has really been something that I can sink my teeth into, that has really captivated my attention.
Dude, I love it. And here's the thing. You and I talked a little bit in the green room about journalism. You know, we've talked before about journalism, and there's no such thing as, you know, honest journalism anymore. But, you know, everything that we see in the media is bought and paid for by so-and-so or exemplifies so-and-so, or, you know, whatever, right? Or your views are paid for, or your followers, or whatever. You can fake it until you make it, is my point. And a lot of the truth and a lot of the media that they put out there that we see isn't actually the truth. It's sugar-coated to meet a certain, you know, narrative or whatever have you. You, sir, you give it to people raw. You know what I'm saying? You're like, listen, these are the motherfucking facts, you know, and then you talk to these people who, I guess, call it this new wave of you know, I don't want to call it unawokeness, because there's this whole group of woke people and all of that. But it's this new generation of journalists that no matter what, you're just going to tell the truth, because at the end of the day, the truth is worth a lot more than any kind of monetary, you know, evaluation. You know, I don't care if someone's like, hey, I'm going to pay you $10 million not to release that. I don't care. Like, money has it doesn't have, I grew up poor. I really don't care about money. You know, if you knew me, you would know that. But I think that's the coolest thing, man. And to honestly see somebody sit back and look at the things that need discussing, especially in the niche of cannabis, I think is brilliant, man. And that's kind of why I had you on the show.
Because I agree with you, man. And a number of the cannabis companies, I'm not going to name any names here, but a number of the cannabis companies that I've had on my show have said the same thing about the local media here, that they don't feel like they're being represented accurately. Or like, hey, 7 Days interviewed, I'll mention their name because fuck 7 Days. But, you know, hey, 7 Days interviewed me for 3 hours and they published 100 words that I said, and it wasn't even anything I felt was relevant, you know? So, I feel like, for especially in the cannabis community, where some of these people are just feeling like it's safe to sort of come out for the first time now that it's legal, I feel like those people have been really disappointed with the overall coverage here in Vermont, and that's what that's the gap I'm trying to fill.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan's a little bit ahead of Vermont and a little bit of New England there, just because we've been doing it a little bit longer. That's the only truth, you know. And with that does come a lot of your corporate entities that are pushing, you know, remediation. They're pushing booth. That's really what it is. It's fucking overpriced mids. Let's be honest. Okay. There are good dispensaries.
Sometimes I wouldn't even say it's mids.
No, it's not. But I'm giving them a little bit of credit because they spent a lot of money. So we're moving on. Fair. But, you know, and that's the truth, you know, and there has to be, I wouldn't even say a resistance, but there has to be a blocker where, no, you know, educate your consumer, you know, don't blow smoke up their ass, pun intended, to get them to buy a product that's, you know, remediated at best. You know, no one likes microwave food. You know, so why would you go full tilt into paying a shit ton of money for, you know, a gourmet microwave food? I mean, yeah, it's Olive Garden, but we won't have that conversation. You know what I'm saying? But
that's a very interesting point, Rodney. And when I look at some of this sort of X-ray remediation technology and some of these new fangled machines that are coming out, it does kind of strike me as that microwave weed. It's like a, you know, like a TV dinner of like, I'm not interested in that. I like to cook my own food. Exactly.
And to spin off of that, you know, let's look at the FDA real quick and then we'll roll into our segments. The FDA really doesn't regulate shit. That's the truth. Okay, so for every chocolate bar, you're allowed to have so many insect parts in it. That's my point. Okay, so let's say like a dead roach is in there. Those things don't really, it takes a lot to kill those. So, you know, but every Hershey's bar is allowed to have, and I want to say it's up to 20% animal parts or what they call insect parts in it. Roaches, things like that. You mean
free protein, Rodney.
If you will. But that's the thing. Like, you know, at least tell me I'm eating that. Don't just insinuate that I know. You know what I mean? That's my point. Mislabeling is a huge issue. Additives, for example, y'all, real quick. Make your own bread. Okay? Raise your own chickens. Those two things right there are going to save you money. A. B. Did you know that normal bread on the shelf in the grocery store has over 40 additives in it that are not necessarily to be there?
No, bread has like 5 ingredients, right?
Exactly.
And if you go to a grocery store, I just watched a great documentary about this, and someone's going to come on the show. It was a documentary called Sustainable. It was from 2016. And it's about a Midwest farm who now provides grains and breads and vegetables to Chicago restaurants. And that's exactly what they were talking about. They say, you see this bread right here? It's got 5 ingredients. It looks amazing. You go to the store, you get bread. You've got fucking 40 ingredients. You don't know what half of them are. And yeah, I'm with you there.
You know, and then look at the, you know, the whole chicken egg conspiracy. You know, we're back to that question, and I never thought it would happen in my lifetime. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, that's actually like an expensive question to ask certain people nowadays. But this also is coming from a group of people whose kids can't figure out what countries, you know, border us on the north and south of us. So we won't talk about that. You know, it is what it is. Our new segments on the Daily Chronicles is all about getting to know our guests as they come on. So we've decided to put together 4 of the best questions of the last 2 years of research and development for y'all here at the Daily Chronicles. We've put together 4 questions that I believe personally rather encompasses who a person really is. So without any other further ado, y'all, let's roll right into it.
Are we live right now, Rodney?
We are not live. We are recording. It just says live.
Hell yeah. Okay.
But here it is, y'all, without any other further ado. What's in your bowl?
Get ready for What's in Your Bowl.
Welcome to the first segment of the new segments on the Daily Chronicles, y'all. What's in your bowl? This segment is all about what our guests enjoy smoking on, what they're smoking on, their favorite things about weed. So, Caleb, what you smoking on, my man?
Is this the first one?
This the first one?
Oh, Rodney. I'm honored. And I got to tell you, first of all, I've got a beautiful chillum here that was made by Chris Hickory.
Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, they call them hickory sticks. I'm sorry, I got the fake green screen, so it's not beautiful. But Chris is a legend of Vermont glass blowing, and he's just a wonderful human being. And he also grows some CHRONIClez. However, what's in here is, let's see if my green screen will pick this up. This is from Old Growth, Vermont here. This is from Jesse and Shane McFarland. What I got is some strawberry rhubarb pie. This is Vermont sun-grown flour here. And I got a little secret chunk of hash sprinkled on top that I can't tell you where that came from because it's still on the illicit market. But that's okay.
Listen, illicit hash is always good.
And by the way, I want to just shout out Winooski Organics. These guys got a great stash of this. Eddie Furchy and Dylan Lovell over at Winooski Organics in Winooski, Vermont. Great people, and they've got a really nice selection of some of the freshest Vermont weed that's hit the shelf so far.
Hell yeah. What's your favorite, I hate this question, but I'm going to ask it. What's your favorite strain?
Can I tell you, the one strain that I can recognize by nose every time is Super Silver Haze.
Okay. It's
kind of an old strain, but it is one of my favorites. Or Strawberry Cough, I always was a big fan of, but I don't like to discriminate. I like all the weeds, man.
Weed matters.
I don't discriminate between indoor and outdoor. There's so much good flower here in Vermont. Mm-hmm. I know great indoor growers. Word up to Emerald Visions and Forbin's Finest. And I know great outdoor growers, Sean Mosley, Matt Leonetti, just guys that grow really amazing flowers of all types, and so I've never had that sativa gets me awake and indica makes me sleepy. Now, I smoke all weeds all time of day, and I love them all except for the MSO mids.
I agree with you. And so part of the reason that we ask, in the segment, what's in your bowl is people, they're like, I was going back to that question that I'm always asked, hey, what's your favorite strain? You should really be asking what's your favorite cultivar, but that's a whole different, question. I've been asked it so much in just the last few years of this career choice that it's just, I don't want to come out and be like that. So I was like, what's another way to, to ask that, what's in your bowl, what are you smoking on? What are you rolling on, and things of that nature, man. So yeah, those huge, players in the game in Vermont. Strawberry Cough is amazing. Strawberry Rhubarb. I love strawberry rhubarb, so it's like sometimes these names match the cultivars and the strains and stuff. So, I mean, you got me enticed. That's almost worth it.
The strawberry rhubarb actually does kind of match up. My mom has always made strawberry rhubarb pies out of. She's always had rhubarbs in the garden.
I grow one every year.
Just a massive rhubarb plant. It just gets fucking huge. And so, this does, and I'm a sucker for the fruity strains. I really love fruity strain. Pineapple cream from Forbin's is really one of my favorite strains. And I know Tito Byrne over there at the Byrne Gallery's got a pineapple kush that he's working on. And it just, I can't say no to that fruit.
I'm a huge Kush fan. But this next segment, y'all, it's not just for the fellas, it's for everyone. It's TNA coming at you.
Get ready for TNA.
Welcome to TNA. This is the rapid fire yes or no questions in the form of totally or absolutely not. Caleb, you ready?
I am. Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Did you smoke weed before you were 16? Totally. Or absolutely not. Okay, totally. Sweet. Have you ever hotboxed a car?
Totally.
All right. Have you ever gotten wasted, like drunk or messed up or something, and used weed to come back down?
Absolutely not.
Fair enough.
It doesn't help me come back down. Sometimes if I'm drunk and I smoke a bunch of weed right at the end, it could have the opposite effect.
I've seen that. Like I remember a few times drinking where I would just, let's say get a good buzz going on. Then I'm like, oh shit, I need to sober up. Whereas you get a hangover, it does cure a hangover. Let's be honest here. It helps with the headaches and the nausea and shit like that and whatever. But it does not work out well for anybody mixing the two.
I drink water when I need to sober up.
Okay.
That's my go-to.
Now this, so I got one last question to wrap up the TNA there, just a few rapid fire for y'all. But there's this new cannabinoid THCO. Have you tried that yet?
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Unless
I'm
it's
curious
been
about
some of the weed strains that I've been smoking.
It's allegedly 30 times stronger than THC. They say
It's hard to keep up with all these new cannabinoids that are coming out. CBG, CBN, like they got the whole alphabet now.
There's over 100. Yes,
Yeah,
there's over 100.
So it's really hard to say. I assume if it's part of a cannabis plant, I've consumed it at some point, but never isolated and not of my knowing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to do it, but I'm also nervous because I have heard that it is allegedly 30 times stronger than normal THC. I love THC. I take THC in high amounts, so it's just like, what if I have to take a small amount? We're gonna see. I am gonna try it, but that's just me. We have
Even with dabs, like I take little baby dabs, the first dab I ever took was in 2010, and my buddy almost killed me with it because he thinks I was funny at the time. I thought it was rude because I didn't want to take another dab for like 5 or 6 years because I was scared. But now, dude, even I could take a little bitty tiny dab, and sometimes even the tiny dabs I put in turn into like 2 in my puffco. So yeah, I'm kind of a baby when it comes to that shit. And edibles, like 20 milligrams, 30 is my max. For a guy who gets high all the time, I'm kind of a lightweight.
I had a little nose pressure before we get to the next segment. I had a little nose pressure yesterday, sinuses and shit like that. So I took a Sudafed. Then I did like 2 dabs, and then I ate an edible and went out in public. All of it hit me at the same time. So before we get to this next segment, this is the word story. This happened yesterday. Nobody knows this except for the people that are there. We went to a sub shop, downtown Lansing, because we were playing Pokemon Go. All right, so I'm out there getting my Pokemon on, doing something, and all of a sudden, all of this hits me at once. First, the Sudafed, and it's in order of succession, the order that I fucking took them. So the Sudafed hits me. I'm like, all right, cool. I can breathe better, right? Cool. And then the fucking dabs hit me. Boom, boom. I'm like, oh shit. And dabs already hit me, but it like really sunk in. It amplified the Sudafed, and then the edible hit me.
Damn, so that's a ruthless combination.
We got our subs, okay? I was hungry, and it hit me as I'm looking at the menu. Now, I'd been here before, but it's been a while, and everything started to shake a little bit, just like somebody was just gently rocking me, And I'm having trouble reading the menu, and I'm like, there's words up there. And they both look at, my girlfriend and my buddy was like, what the fuck is this guy on? I'm like, oh man, it's the Sudafeds, and I order my stuff, went and got a table, got my drink, sat down, went back up, got the food, came back, and I didn't touch a damn thing. I was so high, I was just staring out the front window. I lost all track of time.
Damn.
And so they're like, are you going to eat? And I was like, I'm not hungry. I'm way too high to be at the devil's house right now, And so, yeah, I mean, if there's a lesson to be learned, don't take Sudafed while getting high.
Yeah. And also just sometimes edibles just make me feel like that. Like I said, I have a very low tolerance for edibles. 20, 30 milligrams is fine. If I ate 100 or 200, I probably would think I was going to die.
I think that's what happened yesterday is I kind of just didn't read and it popped it and it was like, woo, you know what I mean? You mix that with everything aforementioned and you're going to have one hell of a time. Yeah, I felt like Nikki Sixx.
That's why responsible consumption is important.
Hey, hang on, because, and that's all fine. A, it was Sunday, so like a day off, right? And B, I had 2 babysitters. Yeah,
well, hey, and you're an adult. First of all, you can eat as much fucking edibles as you want. If you want to fucking get locked on the couch for 8 hours, I don't give a shit. But for me, it becomes uncomfortable at a certain point. And that point is about, like, the last time I ate 100 milligram Swedish fish, dude, I had to leave work early because I couldn't stand up. I was leaning on the bar stools, and I was bar backing for a guy at Burke Mountain. He was cool. No, it was cool. He trained me to be a very good bartender. Word up to Logan, a great man. And I was just like, yo, like I might have to check out early here. And it was like 20 minutes before my shift ended, 15 maybe. And he said, yeah, are you okay? I said, yep. I just, chef fed me some edibles and I can't stand up. And he said, oh yeah, go ahead. We're fine. So it was nice to, at one point in my career, have an understanding bartender who knew what I was going through.
Speaking of going through things, it always happens that when you smoke, most commonly a lot of people, speaking of edibles, get the munchies.
Get ready for. I got the munchies.
Welcome to the segment called Got the Munchies, y'all. This is the segment, a little twist on this, all about snacks from your childhood, whether they be discontinued or not. So, Caleb, I ask you, what was one snack from your childhood that you remember eating, discontinued or not?
When I was high?
Yeah, high or just as a kid?
I got to tell you, man, like when we were growing up, my mom always sent us to school with Little Debbie snacks. Oatmeal cream pie, Swiss cake roll, Star Crunch, I believe it was called. It was like a ricey chocolate. Yeah. But, I was always just a fiend for candy. I think I've been a sugar addict my entire life. Swedish Fish, Sour Patch Kids, Skittles. Soda. I remember when we were in school back in like 8th grade, they started putting drink machines in the school. So you could get a Minute Maid lemonade with fucking 60 grams of sugar or a Yoo-hoo or all of that shit. And boy, that was really my childhood, was just eating way too much sugar. And I feel bad about that now because it's hard to get off of. I've had a lot of bad habits in my life, Rodney, and sugar, I believe, has been the hardest to kick.
They say two things about a habit. Habits will always forever be hard to make and hard to break. That's the truth. And, I remember the birthing of the pop machines or soda machines, wherever you're at, in schools. I remember watching them put up a Coca-Cola one, and charging and then changing the rules for this to happen. I remember them taking it away as well, too. When Michelle Obama did the Healthy Act for like schools and stuff, remember that year? It was like 2000, I want to say 2005, maybe around there. But they pulled all these soda machines and pop machines out of school.
I want to say it was like 2008 or 9.
It could have been. And it was a little earlier than that because I
had the obesity initiative, though.
Whatever she called it.
While her husband, by the way, was actively giving more contracts to these soda companies
Yep.
So, but you are correct. Yeah, I believe.
And it's funny because I was like, all right, so wait a minute, time out. And this is where I used the soda machine once, maybe twice in my entire high school career. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really care about it because I knew, being a chef, if I wanted to go get a soda, pop, whatever, it would cost me, I think it was like $1.50 or something, right? Whereas if I just took $1.50 and paid the lunch lady in the morning, she would let me then get my drink in the morning so I could have it. And then come lunch, I could get another one for free because I've already prepaid.
Huh.
They love that. Yeah, twofer. So I was like, well, and then I looked at, how many ounces. I was a smart consumer. The reason that I was a smart consumer, isn't because I was, want to be diabetic or anything. No, it's the fact that I grew up without fucking money, man. We would literally try and stretch $1 a mile, and sometimes it would work, and then gas prices are increased.
My mom was really good at dude, my mom raised 3 kids while she was going to college and working full time. Like, I don't know how the fuck you do that. It was impressive the way that she budgeted. And even though like some of that food, I think maybe we were eating, a lot of pre-processed food was coming into the market then, back in the, I want to say, mid 90s, early 90s, like
96 and shit. Yep.
Yeah. Right. the Clinton era, where they sort of allowed a lot of that to come on the market. And you know, it's been wild sort of training myself to re-eat again. I've had to sort of dial my brain. I feel like my brain got captured by the food system for a minute.
Indoctrinated? Absolutely.
Yeah. And so learning how to eat like whole grains again, you know, I just had a nice beef barley soup de-thawed in the fridge with carrots and onions and celery, you know, stuff like that. As opposed to just, and dude, I love fucking Kraft mac cheese. I love frozen pizzas. But yo, that shit is not good for my gut. And it has, I believe.
The only thing good in Kraft mac and cheese is the turmeric that they use for the coloring.
Yeah, but I have some of that, so I don't need that. I can add that myself. You know what I mean? And allegedly, turmeric is good for the anti-inflammation, so might help my arthritis here, you know?
That's true. That's true. But I don't think it's, I think turmeric is in Kraft mac and cheese, but I don't think it's at any level that would do anything good.
Not detectable at test.
You know, anybody who loves Kraft mac and cheese, that's great. That's fine. I will buy you a box. That's not an issue. Okay. But let's be honest. Two things. One, the shapes taste better. I don't know. It's the same shit. I understand that, but the shapes fucking taste better. I don't want to argue anymore because I'm right. You're wrong. Deal with it. Number two, it doesn't matter whether you like Kraft mac and cheese or the shit in the box or the shapes. None of that compares to making it your goddamn self with a 5 cheese blend and a bechamel.
Which, and yo, making pasta is pretty easy, isn't it?
Easy. It's about as easy as making bread.
3 ingredients, right?
It depends on the pasta, but yes.
Like water, flour,
and eggs. Yep. For the most part, yes. I mean, other, like I said, there's other things and other pastas, but yes, you're absolutely right.
I'm interviewing here, Rodney.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And by the way, you sent me some pictures of some of your dishes that I thought were fucking beautiful.
Hey, thank you. I mean, I can't take the credit, man. I just, it's just food. You know, the food looks as good, you know, and I'm a person that's not about sticking 26 flavors in something to give it complexity. I wanted to give, you know, the story behind that pig sacrifice as complexity. I want, you know, me being able to cook that. That story should be complex enough. You know,
I really liked your take on you know, how people treat their animals that they're going to kill and eat. That was something that you talked about a lot that I really respected.
You know, let's put it this way. So, and thank you. You know, if let's say that cannibalism was a thing and that you were allowed to do it. Okay. Could you kill someone and eat them? Okay. No. Some people could. Those people are sociopaths or whatever. But let's say that you could. All right. That's kind of fucked. I don't want to talk to you. A little weird. Don't kill me. Cool. Bye. But let's say that you can't kill a person and eat them. Well, what's different from killing shooting a deer or something? A lot. Because it can't speak back to you. You can't feel it. And that's the point. Okay. When you can't feel that, that's an issue. Well, yeah, you understand that that's food. Then you have this other notion of people that do feel those emotions that don't want to eat animals. I respect that. But at the same time, your triggers are your responsibility. Okay. If it triggers you watching me eat bacon, then maybe you shouldn't be watching me eat bacon. That's the truth.
I'm also in the middle there because
fair.
I understand both sides of the argument, and I think some people that do hunt just want to kill stuff.
That's
which
no bueno. Right.
But I also love chicken.
Love chicken. Love yard bird.
You know, and I have been more conscious about my meat consumption since I've started thinking about these sort of issues.
You know, I feel that we have the ability to make things more sustainable. Okay. But the problem is when you create sustainability, you cut down on profitability. And that's what companies don't fucking like because it's all about money.
Bummer.
Right.
My
but at the
heart.
same time, well, what do you mean, Mr. Executive of whatever huge, massive chicken company? You can't take 6 vacations this year. You can only take 5 because of the
Tyson.
Fuck off. I didn't want to say it, but you know, your words, not mine. But that's the truth.
Yeah, those guys, those are big. I mean, the meat industry as well as the ag industry at large has been consolidated into these massive, you know, Monsanto, Syngenta, Cargill, all of these big, these
companies.
big players, and quite frankly, I don't trust these people to produce healthy food for me.
Well, they're all paying
Trust my mom.
into, when they get fined, when they get caught, they get hit with a fine. That's it. They don't cease and desist. They fucking just pay the fine because it's cheaper for them, which is bullshit. Or they get hit with a lawsuit and donate that money to charity and get off with it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's fucking shady. And it goes back to the government before we get to the last segment here, because the government lies, and that gives you a little clue to what what? Right. That's the biggest joke. The government lies. But here's the truth. Okay, so the United States Constitution, the United States Preamble, the United States fucking period was founded off the idea of a person, a citizen being private, okay, and the government being public. However, for some reason in the fucking day and age today, it is backwards, okay?
The Patriot Act might have had a hand in that.
And militarizing police, absolutely. And so this was all, orchestrated. But, I digress a little bit there. My point, now everybody else is out in the quote unquote public. They call it general public. And then you got government that's completely private, allegedly. Well, that's interesting because let's look at taxes in business. Like we were talking about big corporations. If a person in a company gets investors, let's say you invested in my company, okay? And I tell you your investment of $500 goes towards camera equipment. Okay, that makes sense. You're willing. I'm cool with that. Here's the money. Go get your camera. Let's say I don't buy a camera. Let's say I buy a bunch of lottery tickets and piss it away. And then you come asking about the camera and your money. You're like, why is this shit happening? And I just decide to ignore you. That's called scuttling investors.
Why didn't you win the lottery?
Right. But I ignore that. So we don't even get to have that conversation. But if I ignore that, that's scuttling investors. Now, hang on a second. The government fucking does that with taxes. For example, they take all this money saying they need all this infrastructure and roads and all of this done. Then the roads go and damage your vehicle. But you can do nothing about that. Now, here's the best part. Then you find out that not all of the money is going to the roads. You can't do anything about that. So let me ask you this. If it was a company, okay, you could be mad as an investor paying taxes into the company, correct? Because on paper, that's how it looks. Interesting little point. The United States is one of the biggest companies in the world. Period. The United States is a company on paper.
I think
your social security number?
I think California is the third largest economy on the planet.
It would make sense.
Aside from China.
It would make sense, yeah.
Yeah. Because
of Hollywood and shit. Yeah. That has a lot of money there.
Right, but sure. And it's definitely run like a corporation.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. So ask yourself this, okay? How come you can't get away with it if you own a business, but the state of, wherever you're at, the United States government is a company and they're getting away with it? Think about that. Then didn't we just have, it was a while ago that we found out that taxes are actually inherently unconstitutional. But we're not having that conversation, are we? Nope. Everybody just wants you to shut up and pay your taxes.
I believe they fought a war over this way back when.
There may have been one. There may have been
something.
It's I can sum up anti-disestablishmentarianism in 4 letters. IRAQ. That's that. I mean, it's really that simple. So if I can do, a minuscule joke such as that to completely obliterate something that the government spent trillions of motherfucking dollars on, then I mean, probably it's not good for us. You know what I'm saying? If you can sum it up as that. But speaking of what is good to us, we have reached our last segment of the show, y'all. This one is called...
Good segue off that. Yeah.
Oh, you like it, right? A little spin. This one's called Lie to Me.
Get ready for... Lie to Me.
Welcome to Lie to Me, y'all. This is the creme de la creme of all of our comments, questions, and concerns of the show. This is the one I saved the best for last. My favorite question. It always seems to stump some people. Some people answer it without, a break in a sweat. But lie to me. Caleb, taking your life as it sits right now, spinning around 180 and looking back as far as you possibly need to, whatever caveat to whatever age, what is one lie that you got away with but shouldn't have?
I basically lied my way through college. I have a physics degree from Worcester Polytechnic Institute, and I graduated with honors, even though my GPA was like a 2.7. I had smart enough friends I should have dropped out of college. Okay. I was failing out, and then they put me on Adderall, which helped. But really, it was my friends, like even my graduating project. I'm not going to name any names, but I had some friends who basically wrote half of it for me. And I'm glad they did, and they helped me with the math and stuff. Like I did a lot of work in college, but realistically, like without I joined a fraternity, which is something I thought I would. Dude, all I knew about fraternities was Animal House, and it didn't seem appealing to me. and when I got to school, so I was looking for weed. That was the first thing I did when I got to Massachusetts. I was like, I want something to smoke. And I met some guys. They brought me down to this fraternity house, and they were like, here, hang out here by the pool table while we go get you some weed. And if you want, there's a soda machine in the kitchen where you can put a quarter in, and they'll give you a PBR. And I was like, well, this is nice. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to come back with some guys that can help you do your homework. So, what? Yeah, so that's how I ended up joining the fraternity. But like, if I'm totally honest, I mean, the kids that I went to school with just blew me out of the water. And I had to basically fake my way through the whole fucking thing. The one saving grace I had was that I'm good at writing research papers. Okay. I'm not actually good at doing research, and I'm not a very good scientist, but I'm good at writing stuff down on paper that could impress a professor. And so I kind of bullshitted my entire way through college. That was the biggest lie of all time.
So, I can't, I'm not going to lie to you. So did I. That's the truth. And if I'm being honest, man, like, not to, I don't know if it was to that degree. I did a lot of the work, I did what I was supposed to do. But at the same time, I didn't. Too. Yeah. Right. I didn't really get to go to college. I did for a little bit, but then it just got to the point where I had to drop out and stop going because I had to continue working. In my mindset, grind, 70, 80. I was a cook. You know exactly what I'm talking about. There isn't any time, and then from a cook, I became a chef. Even more time. I'm using days from, hours from yesterday to make up for tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? That shit's pretty insane. And there's just no time. And then you notice the schools went from being in school in class to online to feature, match your schedule, do class at night and da-da. The best part was none of those degrees were taken seriously. So if you went to, like, let's say Phoenix University, not to say that they're discredited or anything.
It's University of Phoenix, by the way.
Whatever it is. Okay. The point is, if I'm looking at these two and I'm going to obviously hear the commercial about this in my head, whereas this person went to, like, let's say Michigan State University, guess who I'm going to take serious? That's the point. Like, I'm not trying to be rude, and I know you could have spent about the same amount, but I really don't give a shit. I'm going to go with what seems familiar. That's what people don't understand. And that's where this, then they're finding out that a shit ton of nurses in Florida were, like, going to this unaccredited school, and they were getting nursing degrees that meant nothing. Now, here's the interesting part.
What a shame. What a shame for those people that were trying to do good things in their life.
It's criminal, but that's small potatoes, okay? What's more criminal is how expensive the education system is to begin with, okay? In 1963, you could have full ride, paid for it with a, minimum wage job and a house, had everything, blah, blah, blah. Now
you can have a family. And
you can have anything you want. The American dream was more obtainable. It was still alive back then. Between 1963 and 2023, it died and came back to life, I guess, as a zombie to piss us off. I don't know. But the point is, like, it's no longer there. It's no longer feasible. So now you have millennials and generations after that, a little before too. But you have this entire generation of people who are literally working towards nothing. Furthermore, with the pandemic, whether you believe in it or not, it doesn't matter. It still fucked up schools. There's a lot of kids that didn't get to do their sex ed and sexual education and shit because of that.
And restaurants also.
Restaurants, eviscerated restaurants. That's the problem. How do you reset an economy that's already tanking? Well, you tank the motherfucker. Nothing, not to go back to the government and make this entire show about that, but nothing that they did made any fucking sense. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to turn this into like conspiracy theories, but how come all the conspiracy theories are coming true?
No, dude. Hey, I'll speak on it for a second. The rules kept changing every fucking 2 days.
Every quarter. They're like, you know what? We were just kidding. Yep.
It was very hard to, dude, for real. When COVID first hit, I was wearing fucking plastic gloves when I was wiping off my grocery. Like, I really was, because I have an autoimmune disease. I have psoriatic arthritis. I didn't know that, but yeah. I have psoriatic arthritis, which is an autoimmune disease. So when that shit happened, I actually called my doctor immediately. And I was like, hey, do you think it's safe for me to be bartending? And she was like, no. And she said, you should talk to your boss. She said, I'll send you a letter, which she did. And I said, hey, man, like, I just don't think, like, dude, I went for the panic. And I can tell you, I actually worked at Idle Time for about a year after that, unvaccinated with no mask on, and did not get COVID, which is one of the busiest restaurants in Vermont, which is kind of wild, because at first I was very, I was kind of afraid, man. Like, I don't like to get into the paranoia of the media, but that one seemed, they were like, yo, if you have an autoimmune disease, you could be at very high risk here. So I called my doctor, and she said, yeah, you should probably just take the time off, which I did, on her advice. But when I came back, like, people still had COVID a lot, and I never got it. We took the plexiglass down off. The bar had plexiglass around it for a while.
I've seen that. I see some still up too.
Yeah,
some of it's still up, and listen, the first time that I got COVID, hit it with
you got
weed.
You got it.
Yeah, I got COVID like 2 or 3 times.
No shit.
It sucked, but I mean, hear me out. You've got people that got fired over this. And now they're saying that you don't have to have the vaccine, blah, 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 which is interesting, because you have people that were working at jobs for 30 plus fucking years get fired over something. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's beyond fucked. That's almost.
They were firing nurses and shit, which I thought was a bad time to fire nurses in the middle of a fucking health crisis.
I know 4 nurses locally that all, 2 of them did quit, because they were like, either you quit or you get fired. And I was like, well, if you would have let them fire, you could have done unemployment. They're like, yo, bitch, it's COVID. I can do unemployment anyway. So they did, and they got their full, as they should. But that's the truth. And then if we want to go even, further into that rabbit hole, how come unemployment was extra money then, and it ain't hurt nobody? It actually helped the economy. And then you've got minimum wage rolling back. And it's just, I mean, come on, y'all. Come on.
The panic was everywhere. And it was like, if you're going to pay me to just stay home, like, I feel like on my doctor's advice and just
I can do exactly, yeah.
On what I'm reading, like, it doesn't seem worth the fucking risk, man. Like, I don't want to die to give you a shitty, mediocre chicken sandwich from some fucking pub fucking bar in Vermont. Like, I don't care about that.
Well, that's just it. Like, I knew people, I say knew, that went to their jobs, that picked up their knives, that lit their stoves, and they got COVID, and that was the last time they did that, and some people have long COVID symptoms. It's just fucked, man.
You know some people that died from COVID? Bummer, man. Sorry to hear that.
I wasn't super close with them. They were distant. I would call them pen pals with social media wise. We were chefs and cooks alike. We were, they're just one day. That's the truth. The problem is none of them died. None of them died quick. It wasn't just drop dead. It was a very long, drawn-out process, man. And
it's like they stick a tube down your throat and fucking breathe for you for 2 days, and then you die or something.
Well, R.I.P. For a couple of buddies in the cannabis industry. I don't know if I want to, shout them out just yet, but they, one individual got COVID, beat COVID, but it fucked with his liver, and his liver shut down, and that's what he actually ended up dying from.
And that's the thing I think a lot of people didn't realize about COVID. It's like, you don't have to die from an illness
Correct.
to have it do serious damage to your body. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the thing. Like, people can get AIDS, and AIDS won't kill you. But what will kill you is an infection or something that happens as a result of your weakened immune system.
Correct.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Now there's a lot of studies as cannabis is becoming legal about AIDS with cannabis. There are studies with ADHD in cannabis, cancer in cannabis, and all of these amazing things, but there is one thing that we can do before we get out of here real quick. And that is just be fucking positive. That is the truth. I'm not going to hit anybody with an aggressive positivity. Be like, oh, you got to do it. No, listen, either you're going to want to be a nice person and you're not. That's just it. At the end of the day, don't be a fucking dick. That's the truth, I've had people be like, well, I'd rather be a dick than an asshole because an asshole gets fucked. Dude, if you semantically have to break it down that way just to get you to help somebody cross the fucking road when they need to, I don't care what you got to fucking say to me, but at least help somebody out. You know what I mean? And this day and age, we got to do this shit together because the truth is, man, if we all stand up and knock their table over, their little game is over.
It's a big game, though. Let's be honest. We need a lot of people because
That's the truth.
It's a larger game than that picture where there's just like 6 guys under there and they could just bump the chess pieces off.
And it all falls down.
But you are correct. I believe that getting people to show up and engage in these kind of issues it's hard, first of all, because people are working all the time. People got a fucking 2 jobs sometimes, just to pay their fucking bills. So they don't have time necessarily to engage in those issues. And also, some people I think have just checked out.
They're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
They feel like nothing that they do is gonna change anything. I believe that's my personal opinion. But it seems like a lot of people are in that boat, and they've just checked out, and you watch Netflix all night, and that's fine, dude. I watched Netflix last night, so it was fine. But I do feel like a lot of people are in those 2 boats.
It really is, one of the benefits of having a life at sea in the kitchen, if you will, and not to put it into nautical terms continually, but to alliterate the fact that you and I have lived a life at sea. We understand life at sea. We understand the people, the players. We know what it is to see somebody walk the plank. We know what it is to be threatened by the sharks. We've seen life at sea. So people are, jumping into these boats and then coming down these rivers into the open sea, and they're freaking the fuck out. This is life now. This is part of that life that you push to create. This is what you get for sticking your fucking head in the sand, And honestly, like, I want to bring a little brevity to the situation, and show the levity of the situation. I want people to relax and be entertained a little bit, but learn a little bit about Caleb Teske from The Fine Print, y'all. Doing his thing out on YouTube, y'all. Check him out Instagram at The Fine Print Journalism. I was scrolling earlier in the show. I might throw it up somewhere neat. But I can tell you this, man. You have a very not only eclectic but precision, fucking like on point, and just massive amount of guests already. How long have you been doing this?
My first interview was April 22nd. And since April 22nd, I've got about 130 hours of recorded interviews with growers, manufacturers, retailers, lawyers, the entire control board in Vermont, people from every segment of the industry. Some folks I met out in Vegas. It started slow. I took about 5 months to do background research before I did any type of interviews at all, because I really wasn't comfortable talking to people with that level of experience, with the knowledge base that I have. So I spent 5 months reading legislation and watching control board meetings. And then I started doing the interviews. Yeah. And since then it's kind of overwhelming at this point. It's overwhelming, man. Like I've just had I have people now hitting me up. They're like, yo, can I come on your show and do an interview? And I'm honored by that. But also, it's like, dude, I barely have time to fit in the people that I have already, and I have to figure out a business plan or get a job. And I think a dispensary here in Vermont might hire me soon. So that would be lovely. And that would help hold me down here and fuel this project. But it's
well, dude, I enjoy the shit that I've seen from the fine print. I love there. You know exactly the people I'm talking about in the episodes. I love why you had them on, and you've seen me watch them. You get your own analytics. You know what people are doing.
Did you watch Illinois?
No, not yet. I've seen it. I need to go back and watch it. I've talked to Cole about it.
He's a great kid. I'd like to give him a shout out here too. Cole Preston, Illinois
podcast.
Yeah,
I actually have to get him back on.
And also Mike Crawford from the Young Jerks in Boston, Lou Rinaldi in
Grant
Connecticut,
Ellis.
Kristen Souza, some really good guests, and everyone in Vermont that I've had. It's amazing the Vermont guests, because I expected that after reading the legislation, I was going to talk to a lot of shitheads and people that I really just didn't fucking like.
Right.
And then I've just met all these amazing people. Like, it's really been a blessing, and to get to taste all this herb in Vermont, I can't complain about that either.
Hey, listen, at the end of the day, we all smoke weed. Now, speaking of the end of the things, y'all, we've wrapped up another special edition, and the new iconic, groundbreaking, avant-garde edition of the Daily Chronicles, y'all. Stay tuned for more structured and construction things happening around the studios, y'all. Again, I want to thank Caleb Teske from the Fine Print coming on, y'all. Again, that's YouTube, the Fine Print. And then you got Instagram, the Fine Print Journalism, y'all. But my tokers, my jokers, my smokers, we'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace.